Welcome to Unit 14, Module 4, Chapter 2.2, The Agricultural Business Environment. This chapter is designed to equip you with essential knowledge about the complex ecosystem within which agricultural enterprises operate. Throughout this presentation, we will explore the multifaceted factors that shape agricultural businesses, from value chains to external environmental forces. Let's get started. The agricultural business environment represents far more than just farming activities. It encompasses a complex ecosystem characterized by the interplay of economic, social, environmental, technological, political, and legal factors. These factors collectively shape the opportunities, challenges, and strategic decisions that agricultural businesses must navigate daily. By the end of this module, you will have developed 4 key competencies. First, you will be able to explain the components and importance of the agricultural value chain and conduct comprehensive sector analysis. Second, you will learn to apply PESTEL analysis as a strategic tool to assess the external factors influencing agricultural enterprises. Third, you will be equipped to identify and discuss both current challenges and emerging opportunities within the agricultural sector. Finally, you will be able to analyze real-world agricultural business cases and propose strategic responses based on thorough environmental analysis. These skills are essential for anyone working in agriculture, agribusiness, rural development, or agricultural policy, as they provide the analytical foundation needed for effective decision-making in this dynamic sector. Each actor in the agricultural value chain adds a specific form of value to the product. For example, producers add biological transformation through cultivation and livestock farming. Processors ensure food safety and quality through various transformation processes. Retailers and distributors provide crucial access to markets, connecting producers with consumers. Strengthening each link in this chain is crucial to building efficient and competitive agri-food systems. When one link is weak, it can compromise the entire chain's performance. This is why understanding the interconnections is so important. Sector analysis complements value chain analysis by examining the broader agricultural landscape. It considers factors such as market size, regulatory frameworks, and technological developments. By analyzing the sector as a whole, businesses can align their operations with current trends and better anticipate future changes, positioning themselves strategically within the competitive environment. The agricultural value chain can be broken down into 6 core components, each playing a vital role in the journey from farm to consumer. Let me walk you through each of these components. The chain begins with input supply and pre-production activities. This includes everything needed before actual production begins: seeds, fertilizers, machinery, financial services, and technical knowledge. Next comes on-farm production processes, the core agricultural activities that transform inputs into harvested products through land preparation, planting, crop management, and harvesting. Post-harvest handling and storage follows, where products are cleaned, sorted, packaged, and stored properly to maintain quality and reduce losses. Then comes processing and value addition, where raw agricultural materials are transformed into market-ready goods. Distribution, marketing, and retail connects producers with consumers through various channels. Finally, support services and enabling environment cut across all these stages, providing essential functions like research and development, extension services, policy frameworks, and infrastructure that enable the entire value chain to operate effectively. Each of these components is interdependent, and the efficiency of the entire chain depends on how well they work together. The agricultural value chain can be broken down into 6 core components, each playing a vital role in the journey from farm to consumer. Let me walk you through each of these components. The chain begins with input supply and pre-production activities. This includes everything needed before actual production begins: seeds, fertilizers, machinery, financial services, and technical knowledge. Next comes on-farm production processes, the core agricultural activities that transform inputs into harvested products through land preparation, planting, crop management, and harvesting. Post-harvest handling and storage follows, where products are cleaned, sorted, packaged, and stored properly to maintain quality and reduce losses. Then comes processing and value addition, where raw agricultural materials are transformed into market-ready goods. Distribution, marketing, and retail connects producers with consumers through various channels. Finally, support services and enabling environment cut across all these stages, providing essential functions like research and development, extension services, policy frameworks, and infrastructure that enable the entire value chain to operate effectively. Each of these components is interdependent, and the efficiency of the entire chain depends on how well they work together. Let's examine the first component in detail: input, supply, and pre-production activities. This is where the agricultural value chain begins, providing the foundation for all subsequent production. Seeds and planting materials are fundamental. The quality, availability, and affordability of seeds significantly influence both productivity and final product quality. For instance, a coffee farmer in Colombia might purchase disease-resistant Arabica seedlings from a specialized nursery that has developed varieties specifically adapted to local conditions. This initial investment in quality inputs pays dividends throughout the production cycle. Fertilizers and agrochemicals play a critical role in enhancing productivity and managing pests and diseases. Consider potato farmers in Idaho who source custom blended fertilizers based on detailed soil test results from regional agricultural supply companies. This precision input selection optimizes both yields and environmental outcomes. Machinery and equipment affect labor productivity and the timeliness of operations. In Ukraine, grain farming cooperatives collectively invest in combined harvesters that are time shared among members during harvest season, improving efficiency while distributing costs across multiple farmers. Financial services, including pre-season loans and insurance, enable farmers to invest in inputs and manage risks. Rice farmers in Thailand access pre-season loans from agricultural banks to purchase inputs, with repayment scheduled after harvest when they have income from crop sales. Technical knowledge and advisory services help farmers make informed decisions. Vineyard owners in France might consult with viticulture specialists to plan planting layouts and trellising systems before establishing new vineyards, ensuring optimal long-term productivity. On-farm production processes represent the core agricultural activities that transform inputs into harvested products. These processes vary widely depending on the commodity, production system, and local context, but certain key activities are common across different farming systems. Land preparation methods influence soil health, water management, and subsequent crop performance. Vegetable farmers in California implement precision leveling techniques to optimize irrigation efficiency in their fields, ensuring uniform water distribution and reducing waste. Planting and breeding decisions significantly impact productivity and resource use efficiency. The timing, method, and density of planting are critical factors. Strawberry producers in Spain use plastic mulch combined with drip irrigation systems during planting to control weeds and conserve water, demonstrating how multiple techniques work together. Day-to-day crop and livestock management practices determine how effectively resources are used. Dairy farmers in New Zealand employ rotational grazing systems, moving cattle daily to fresh pastures using portable electric fencing. This practice optimizes pasture utilization while maintaining animal health. Integrated pest management strategies affect both productivity and environmental impacts. Apple orchards in Washington state use pheromone traps to monitor codling moth populations, timing spray applications precisely when needed rather than following a rigid schedule. Harvesting methods and timing influence product quality, post-harvest losses, and market value. Blueberry farms in Michigan use a combination of mechanical harvesters for processing berries and hand picking for fresh market fruit, matching harvest method to end-use requirements. Once agricultural products are harvested, they enter the critical post-harvest phase. This is where quality preservation, loss reduction, and market preparation occur. Poor post-harvest handling can negate all the careful work done during production, making this stage absolutely crucial. Cleaning and sorting removes foreign materials, grades products by quality and size, and separates damaged items. This improves marketability and reduces contamination risks. Almond processors in California use sophisticated optical sorting technology to remove defective nuts and foreign material after harvest, ensuring only premium quality products reach consumers. Appropriate packaging protects products during handling and transport while potentially extending shelf life. Banana exporters in Ecuador operate specialized packing facilities near plantations where fruit is washed, sorted, and packed, using controlled atmospheres to prevent premature ripening during transport to distant markets. Proper storage conditions maintain product quality and reduce losses. Storage also allows farmers to market products when prices are more favorable rather than being forced to sell immediately after harvest. Wheat farmers in Canada store grain in temperature monitored silos that prevent moisture accumulation and insect infestation, preserving quality over extended periods. Transportation to processing facilities or markets must be efficient and appropriate to minimize damages and delays while controlling costs. Fresh vegetable growers in Kenya use refrigerated trucks to transport produce to urban markets or international airports for export. Maintaining appropriate temperatures throughout this cold chain is particularly critical for perishable products. Processing transforms raw agricultural products into market-ready goods, often extending shelf life, enhancing safety, creating new products, and significantly increasing value. This is where much of the economic value in agricultural systems is often captured. Primary processing involves the initial transformation of raw agricultural materials through activities such as cleaning, drying, milling, or slaughtering. Coffee cooperatives in Ethiopia operate washing stations where freshly harvested coffee cherries are pulped, fermented, washed, and dried, transforming the raw cherries into green coffee beans ready for export or further processing. Secondary processing involves further transformation into consumer products. This includes activities like turning flour into bread, milk into cheese, or fruit into preserves. A dairy cooperative in Wisconsin might convert raw milk into various cheeses, operating aging facilities that allow for the development of premium varieties that command higher prices. Packaging for retail creates consumer ready products that are attractive, informative, and functional. Olive oil producers in Italy bottle their product in dark glass with nitrogen flushing to preserve freshness and extend shelf life, protecting the product's quality attributes that justify premium pricing. Quality control and certification ensure products meet safety standards, quality specifications, and applicable certifications. Organic wheat farmers in Germany undergo annual certification inspections and implement batch tracking systems, maintaining the integrity needed to capture organic premiums in the marketplace. Distribution and marketing connect producers with consumers through various channels, each with different requirements, costs, and potential returns. Understanding these channels and selecting appropriate ones is crucial for market success. Wholesale distribution moves products from producers or processors to retailers, restaurants, and institutional buyers. Fruit distributors at Spain's Mercamadrid wholesale market aggregate produce from thousands of farmers and sell to retailers, restaurants, and processors, providing an efficient marketplace that connects supply and demand. Export logistics involves specialized services for international trade, including documentation, quality control, and transportation coordination. Avocado exporters in Mexico must coordinate refrigerated shipping containers, prepare customs documentation, and obtain phytosanitary certifications to successfully reach Asian markets, navigating complex regulatory requirements. Retail sales involve direct interaction with final consumers through formats ranging from traditional markets to modern supermarkets. Community-supported agriculture farms in Massachusetts sell weekly vegetable subscriptions directly to consumers, bypassing traditional retail channels and capturing a larger share of the consumer dollar while building customer relationships. Marketing and branding create consumer awareness, preference, and willingness to pay for specific products or attributes. Idaho potato farmers collectively market under a regional brand identity that emphasizes unique growing conditions and quality standards, differentiating their product in a competitive marketplace. Support services and an enabling environment cut across the entire value chain, providing essential functions that enable other activities to operate effectively. These cross-cutting elements are often overlooked but are absolutely critical to value chain success. Research and development creates and adapts technologies and practices to improve productivity, quality, and sustainability. Public-private partnerships in Brazil have developed soybean varieties adapted to tropical conditions, dramatically expanding production potential in regions previously unsuitable for this crop. Extension services transfer knowledge and technologies to farmers and other value chain actors. University extension agents in India train tomato farmers on drip irrigation installation and maintenance, improving water efficiency and crop yields through practical hands-on education. The policy environment establishes rules, incentives, and regulations that shape agricultural markets and practices. European Union agricultural policies provide subsidies for environmental conservation practices, influencing production methods across millions of farms and fundamentally shaping how agriculture is practiced. Infrastructure provides the physical facilities that support agricultural production and trade. Cold chain infrastructure development in Vietnam enables smallholder vegetable farmers to access urban markets with significantly reduced spoilage, opening new market opportunities that were previously inaccessible. Agricultural value chains can be classified in several ways, each classification highlighting different structural and organizational characteristics. Understanding these types helps in analyzing and improving specific value chains. First, we can distinguish between producer-driven and buyer-driven chains. In producer-driven chains, producers control key assets and governance decisions. Dairy cooperatives are a classic example, where farmers collectively own processing facilities and make strategic decisions about production and marketing. In contrast, buyer-driven chains are led by retailers or exporters who set standards and prices. Supermarket contracts with vegetable growers exemplify this model, where retailers specify detailed product requirements and often dictate terms of trade. We can also distinguish between traditional and modern value chains. Traditional chains are typically informal, fragmented, and small scale with low coordination. Village maize markets in many developing countries operate this way, with multiple intermediaries and limited standardization. Modern chains feature coordination through formal contracts, standardized requirements, and technology integration. Supermarket supply chains exemplify this model with sophisticated logistics, quality control systems, and electronic data interchange connecting all participants. Two additional classification dimensions help us understand agricultural value chains: the geographic scope and the level of product differentiation. Local chains serve regional markets with fewer intermediaries and shorter distances. Local cassava processing in West Africa exemplifies this model, with products consumed within the same region where they're produced. These chains often face fewer regulatory requirements but may have limited growth potential. Global chains involve cross-border flows and are often governed by international firms. Ethiopian coffee exports to Europe and Asia represent global chains with complex coordination across multiple countries, currencies, and regulatory systems. We can also distinguish between commodity and specialty chains. Commodity chains handle bulk products that are price-driven with minimal differentiation. Bulk rice trading operates this way, with products competing primarily on price and basic quality parameters. Specialty chains focus on premium, certified, or highly differentiated products with traceable origins. Organic vanilla from Madagascar or Wagyu beef from Japan exemplify specialty chains where product attributes justify premium pricing and require careful quality management throughout the chain. Now let's explore the methodologies used to analyze agricultural value chains. The first fundamental approach is value chain mapping, which provides a visual representation of the chain structure, actors, flows, and relationships. Structural mapping identifies the sequence of activities, key actors, and their functions in the chain. This creates a clearer picture of who does what and in what order, revealing the basic architecture of the value chain. Flow mapping traces product information and financial flows through the chain. This shows not just the physical movement of products, but also how information and money flow between actors, often in opposite directions to product flows. Geographical mapping visualizes the spatial distribution of activities and actors. This can reveal important clustering effects, transportation challenges, or opportunities for regional development. Actor mapping identifies and categorizes chain participants, their numbers, and characteristics. This technique uses a tiered approach, first identifying major actor categories like input suppliers, producers, and processors, before conducting deeper characterization of subcategories such as small, medium, and large processors. Cost benefit analysis examines the economic performance of different activities and actors by systematically comparing costs incurred and benefits gained at each stage. This quantitative analysis is crucial for understanding value distribution. Margin analysis calculates gross and net margins at each stage of the value chain. This reveals where value is being captured and by whom. Value chain accounting traces all revenue streams, direct costs, and overhead costs through the chain. Standardized templates facilitate comparison across different products or regions, enabling benchmarking and identification of best practices. Activity-based costing assigns costs to specific activities rather than broad categories. When applied to agricultural value chains, this approach reveals hidden costs and inefficiencies that traditional accounting methods might miss, such as the true cost of quality control or waste management. Value addition assessment examines how and where value is created, enhanced, or transformed along the chain. This goes beyond simple cost accounting to understand the qualitative changes that make products more valuable. Product transformation analysis tracks physical and quality changes to the product at each stage. For example, drying coffee adds value through preservation, while roasting adds value through transformation of flavor and aroma. Price premium analysis identifies and quantifies price differentials associated with specific product attributes. Researchers have applied this to certified products, measuring the premium consumers pay for certifications like organic or fair trade, and tracking how this premium is distributed among chain actors. Consumer valuation studies directly assess consumer willingness to pay for different product attributes. Researchers have employed sophisticated techniques like conjoint analysis and experimental auctions to quantify how consumers value different attributes of food products, providing crucial insights into opportunities for value enhancement. Market linkage analysis examines the connections between different value chain segments and how these linkages are structured, governed, and maintained. Understanding these connections is crucial for improving chain coordination. Transaction analysis examines exchange mechanisms, including spot market transactions, contracts, and vertical integration. Research developed frameworks for classifying and analyzing transaction types in agricultural value chains, considering dimensions such as formality, duration, and asset specificity. Channel mapping identifies alternative pathways connecting producers to consumers. The approach developed by the Making Markets Work for the Poor program systematically maps channel options, volumes flowing through each, and entry requirements for different channels, helping actors make strategic decisions about market access. Relationship assessment analyzes the quality and characteristics of linkages beyond formal arrangements. Research developed tools for assessing relationship dimensions, including trust, power balance, information sharing, and conflict resolution mechanisms, recognizing that informal aspects of relationships often determine chain performance. Governance structure analysis examines how value chains are coordinated, controlled, and regulated. It explores who makes decisions, who sets terms, and how rules are enforced throughout the chain. Typology-based analysis classifies governance structures using established frameworks. The most influential typology identifies 5 governance patterns based on transaction complexity, codifiability, and supplier capability: market, modular, relational, captive, and hierarchical. Each type has different implications for power distribution and upgrading opportunities. Power analysis examines how power is distributed, exercised, and contested in value chains. A multidimensional framework was developed, distinguishing between bargaining power based on market position, institutional power derived from formal authority, and constitutive power that shapes what is considered normal or legitimate in the chain. Standards and certification analysis focuses on how standards shape chain governance. Different methodologies were created for analyzing standard setting processes, compliance mechanisms, and distributional implications of both public and private standards, recognizing that standards increasingly drive chain coordination and value distribution. Moving beyond individual value chains, let's examine agricultural sector analysis. Structural analysis examines the composition, organization, and characteristics of the agricultural sector, providing insights into systemic issues and development potential. Land distribution assessment analyzes farm sizes, ownership patterns, and access arrangements. This reveals issues such as land concentration, fragmentation, or insecurity that affect investment and productivity. Romania's agricultural sector illustrates this well, with a dual structure of numerous small farms, averaging just 3.6 hectares coexisting with large commercial operations, creating distinct policy challenges. Production system characterization identifies prevalent farming systems and their distribution. Kenya's analysis reveals coexistence of intensive dairy systems in highlands, mixed crop livestock systems in medium potential zones, and pastoral systems in arid areas, each requiring different support approaches. Demographic analysis examines farmer characteristics, including age, gender, and education. Romanian agriculture faces critical aging challenges, with over 57% of farmers above 55 years old and only 11% under 40, raising concerns about future viability and innovation capacity. Institutional structure mapping identifies key organizations and their roles in supporting agricultural development. Uruguay's analysis identified strong research capacity but inadequate technology transfer mechanisms, particularly for small and medium producers, highlighting gaps in the innovation system. Economic contribution analysis quantifies agriculture's importance to the overall economy, providing evidence for policy attention and investment prioritization. GDP contribution assessment measures agriculture's share of GDP and growth trends. In Brazil, agriculture directly contributes about 5% of GDP, but over 25% when considering the entire agri-food system, including processing, distribution, and related services, underscoring its broader economic significance. Employment analysis quantifies jobs created in farming and related activities. Romanian agriculture employs approximately 23% of the workforce, making it a critical source of rural livelihoods despite relatively low productivity and often informal employment arrangements. Multiplier effect calculation assesses indirect economic impacts through backward linkages to input suppliers and forward linkages to processors and distributors. Brazilian research suggests each dollar of agricultural output generates approximately 78 cents in additional economic activity through these interconnections. Foreign exchange contribution analyzes export earnings and trade balance impacts. For many developing countries, agricultural exports represent a major source of foreign exchange. Coffee alone accounts for over 30% of Ethiopia's export earnings, highlighting the sector's strategic macroeconomic importance. Productivity and efficiency analysis examines how effectively the agricultural sector uses resources to produce outputs, identifying efficiency gaps and improvement opportunities. Total factor productivity assessment measures overall efficiency by analyzing output relative to all inputs combined. Vietnamese agriculture showed DFP growth averaging 2.5% annually between 2000 and 2015, accounting for most output growth and indicating successful efficiency improvements rather than just input expansion. Yield gap analysis compares actual versus potential production based on agronomic models and best practices. Southeast Asian rice analysis identified yield gaps of 2 to 4 tons per hectare in many regions, suggesting significant untapped potential through improved practices. Resource use efficiency evaluates how effectively inputs like land, water, fertilizer, and labor are utilized. Vietnamese analysis identified excessive fertilizer use, often 30 to 50% above recommended levels, and inefficient water management as key constraints to both economic and environmental performance. Benchmarking compares performance against reference standards. Comparing Chilean and South African fruit value chains revealed Chile's integrated cold chain management achieved transit times to Europe of 14 days versus South Africa's 21 days, contributing to significant differences in product quality and market value. Competitiveness analysis assesses the agricultural sector's ability to compete in domestic and international markets, identifying strengths, weaknesses, and strategic opportunities. Comparative advantage assessment evaluates natural advantages based on climate, soil, water resources, and geographical location. Chile's Mediterranean climate provides ideal conditions for high quality fruit production, creating natural comparative advantage for counter-seasonal supply to Northern Hemisphere markets. Value addition potential analysis identifies opportunities to enhance value through processing, quality improvement, and branding. Colombian coffee sector analysis revealed opportunities to increase value through specialty certification and single origin branding, potentially increasing producer returns by 20 to 40% compared to commodity channels. Cost structure comparison benchmarks production, processing, and logistics costs against competitors. Dairy cost analysis showed New Zealand's grass-based systems achieving production costs of 30 to 35 cents per liter, approximately 30% lower than EU averages, explaining much of New Zealand's global market share despite remote location. Market share trend analysis tracks performance over time in key markets. Global avocado trade analyses showed Mexico's share of the US market growing from 40% to over 80% between 2000 and 2020, while Chile strategically shifted focus to European and Asian markets where competition was less intense. Three additional dimensions of sector analysis deserve to be mentioned. Policy and institutional analysis examines how policies, regulations, and institutions shape the agricultural sector's performance and development trajectory. This includes analyzing agricultural subsidies, trade policies, land tenure systems, and regulatory frameworks. Subsector analysis focuses on examining specific agricultural subsectors, such as livestock, horticulture, or field crops, to identify unique characteristics, challenges, and opportunities. Each subsector has distinct production systems, market structures, and development constraints requiring tailored analysis and policy responses. Technology and innovation systems analysis examines how technology and innovation are developed, disseminated, and adopted within the agricultural sector. This includes analyzing research capacity, extension systems, farmer networks, and private sector innovation activities to identify bottlenecks and opportunities in the innovation process. Now let's shift our focus to PESTEL analysis, a powerful strategic management tool for agricultural enterprises. Agricultural businesses today face multifaceted challenges that extend far beyond traditional concerns of weather patterns and soil fertility. In this complex environment, tools that enable comprehensive environmental scanning have become essential. The PESTEL framework examines 6 dimensions of the macro environment: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors. This structured approach helps agricultural business leaders identify, analyze, and respond to the diverse forces shaping their operational landscape. By systematically scanning these 6 dimensions, agricultural enterprises can better anticipate changes, identify emerging opportunities, and develop proactive strategies rather than simply reacting to events as they unfold. This forward-looking perspective is crucial in agriculture, where decisions often have long-term implications. Let me briefly introduce each of the 6 PESTEL factors and their relevance to agriculture. Political factors reflect how agricultural businesses are heavily influenced by political decisions at local, national, and international levels. These include agricultural subsidies, trade agreements, land reform policies, and government priorities for the sector. Economic factors encompass the broader economic systems within which agricultural enterprises operate. This includes interest rates, inflation, currency exchange rates, commodity price cycles, and overall economic growth patterns that influence both input costs and output prices. Social factors profoundly influence agricultural markets, operations, and legitimacy. Changing consumer preferences, demographic shifts, urbanization patterns, and evolving attitudes toward food production all fall within this dimension. Technological factors encompass the continuing technological advancement that reshapes agricultural possibilities. From precision agriculture to biotechnology and digital platforms, technology is transforming how agriculture is practiced. Environmental factors have particular relevance for agriculture, including climate patterns, water availability, soil health, biodiversity, and ecosystem services that form the foundation of agricultural production. Legal factors establish fundamental operating parameters through food safety regulations, labor laws, environmental legislation, intellectual property rights, and contract enforcement mechanisms that govern agricultural business operations. Effective pestle analysis requires systematic methodological approaches. Systematic data collection through formalized environmental scanning processes significantly improves strategic decision quality in agribusiness firms. This means establishing regular processes to gather information about each pestle dimension rather than relying on ad hoc observation. Cross-impact analysis helps understand how changes in one pestle factor affect others. For example, political decisions about carbon pricing affect economic costs, which influence technological adoption, which impacts environmental outcomes. These interconnections are crucial to understand. Scenario development explores possible futures by combining different assumptions about how political, environmental, and social changes might unfold. This helps agricultural businesses prepare for multiple possible futures rather than planning for a single expected outcome. Quantitative assessment applies models and statistical methods to assess specific impacts. This includes econometric models for policy impacts, consumer behavior studies, technology adoption curves, and climate impact projections, bringing rigor to the analysis beyond qualitative assessment. PESTEL analysis is only valuable if it informs strategic action. Let me highlight 5 key strategic response domains. Business model innovation may be required when PESTEL analysis reveals the need for fundamental reconfiguration. Swedish agricultural enterprises have responded to changing policy and market conditions by diversifying income streams into agritourism, direct marketing, and renewable energy generation. Value chain positioning decisions should be informed by PESTEL insights. Analysis of how governance structures in agri-food chains have evolved in response to changing regulations and consumer preferences helps identify optimal positioning strategies for producers. Dynamic capabilities. Development is essential for thriving amid change. Agricultural enterprises need capabilities to sense opportunities and threats, seize new possibilities, and reconfigure resources as the environment shifts. Investment prioritization should be guided by PESTEL insights, particularly for long-term capital commitments. Systematic environmental scanning helps enterprises prioritize investments with greater resilience to anticipated changes. Collaborative strategies may be necessary when PESTEL analysis reveals challenges beyond individual enterprise capacity. Multi-stakeholder initiatives address complex sustainability challenges through coordinated action among producers, processors, government agencies, and NGOs. Let's now examine the major challenges and opportunities currently shaping the agricultural sector. Climate change impacts are intensifying, with shifting crop zones and reduced yields in many regions. Maize yields, for example, could decline by 20% in affected areas. Extreme weather events are disrupting traditional harvest cycles. California agriculture demonstrates adaptation through efficient irrigation systems and drought-resistant crop varieties. Water scarcity is critical, with agriculture using 70% of global freshwater, while 3.2 billion people live in water-scarce agricultural areas. Israel leads in addressing this through 90% wastewater recycling and advanced drip irrigation technologies. Soil degradation sees 24 billion tons of fertile soil lost annually, with up to 95% of land potentially degraded by 2050. Australia demonstrates regenerative farming approaches that improve soil health while reducing input requirements. Biodiversity loss is severe, with agriculture threatening 86% of at-risk species through habitat conversion, pesticide use, and monocultures. Costa Rica's shade-grown coffee system sustain over 150 bird species, demonstrating biodiversity-friendly production. Technological innovations offer solutions. Precision agriculture with IoT devices provides real-time data and AI-driven insights. Autonomous tractors with GPS and AI optimize agricultural tasks. Drone swarms enable detailed crop monitoring. Generative AI unlocks insights from vast data sets, empowering agronomists to optimize performance and accelerate decision making. Economic challenges continue to pressure agricultural enterprises. Price volatility affects income stability, immediate profitability, and long-term investment decisions. Farmers struggle with planning when prices fluctuate unpredictably across seasons and years. Rising input costs for fertilizers, fuel, machinery, and labor significantly impact profitability and sustainability. When input costs rise faster than output prices, profit margins are squeezed, threatening farm viability. Access to capital and financial services remains challenging. Farmers often face difficulties accessing the financial resources needed for investment and operations, particularly smallholders who lack collateral or credit history. Sustainable and regenerative practices offer opportunities. The regenerative agriculture movement is gaining momentum with AI-powered precision farming, carbon utilization, and soil health restoration. These technologies are maturing and accelerating rapidly, building more sustainable and resilient food systems. Water conservation technologies are becoming essential as agriculture accounts for roughly 70% of freshwater withdrawals. Alternative growing media like coconut coir and hemp fiber are replacing peat-based media as regulatory pressures accelerate, supporting circular economy principles. Examples like General Mills's regenerative agriculture program demonstrate potential. Working with farmers on 1 million acres by 2030, the program promotes reduced tillage, cover cropping, and rotational grazing. A 3-year pilot showed 19% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, improved water quality, and increased profitability through reduced input costs. As we conclude this module, let's reflect on the key insights we've developed. The 21st century agricultural business environment is indeed complex, with interconnected challenges and opportunities. Understanding the agricultural value chain, sector dynamics, and external factors through PESTEL analysis is essential for strategic decision-making in this environment. Agriculture faces both traditional challenges like weather dependency, biological constraints, and seasonal production cycles, alongside emerging issues such as climate change, resource degradation, changing consumer expectations, and technological transformation. These challenges are not isolated but interconnected, requiring systemic responses. To address these challenges, coordinated action is needed across multiple stakeholder groups. Policymakers must promote sustainable practices and invest in climate-smart innovation. Farmers should adopt regenerative methods and embrace appropriate technologies to improve productivity and resilience. Consumers and civil society need to support sustainable agriculture through purchasing decisions and advocacy while reducing food waste. Researchers and developers must create affordable, scalable technologies suitable for diverse farming contexts, ensuring innovations are accessible to smallholders as well as large operations. Together, these coordinated efforts will drive a more sustainable and resilient agricultural future. The knowledge and analytical frameworks you've gained in this module provide the foundation for contributing to this transformation. Whether you work as a farmer, agribusiness manager, policy analyst, or development professional. Thank you for your attention throughout this presentation on the agricultural business environment. I hope you now have a comprehensive understanding of agricultural value chains, sector analysis methodologies, PESTEL framework application, and the current challenges and opportunities shaping agriculture business environment. Remember that learning is a continuous journey. I encourage you to apply these frameworks and concepts to real-world agricultural contexts, whether through case studies, field observations, or professional practice.